Let's continue our discussion in highway and railroad engineering under the topic pavement design. Now let's continue here in serviceability concept. Prior to the ASHO road test, there was no real consensus on the definition of pavement failure. In the eyes of an engineer, pavement failure occurred whenever cracking, rotting, or other surface distresses become visible. In contrast, the motoring public usually associated pavement failure with poor ride quality. Now, pavement engineers conducting the ASHO road test were faced with the task of combining the two failure definitions so that a single design procedure could be used to satisfy both critics. So, yung critic na na-mention dito is the engineer and the motoring public. So, yun nga, as for the engineer, pavement failure is when there is cracking, rotting, or merong surface distresses. Pero sa motoring public natin, para sa kanila, ang pavement failure ay kung affected na yung kanilang ride quality. Kung hindi na maganda yung pagpapatakbo nila sa kalsada, then that means there's a failure in the pavement. That's for them. Now that challenge for making the ASHO road test is kailangan yung two failure definitions na yun is mapag-combine na nila. So that's how they come up with the ASHO. Now, good for us today. Now, ASHO has those two definitions in mind. At any time, the present serviceability index of a pavement can be measured. This is usually done by a panel of raters who drive over the pavement section and rate the pavement performance on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the smoothest ride. So, meron tayong mga panel of raters na, and these are all professionals. And hindi lang sila basta motoring public, but these are professionals. The accumulation of traffic loads causes the pavement to deteriorate, and as expected, the serviceability rating drops. So as time passes by, naiipon yung traffic loads natin, of course, magkakaroon ng deterioration, and may expect natin that serviceability rating will also drop all. At some point, the terminal serviceability index, or TSI, is reached, and the pavement is now in need of rehabilitation or replacement. Magkaiba yan, ha? So, rehabilitation, ayusin natin yan. Replacement, bakbakin na natin, and then we replace it. Palitan na natin ng bago. So, magkakaroon na ng decision whether aayusin lang or papalitan. Depende na sa kung ano magiging assessment ng mag-evaluate dun sa pavement natin. Okay, next, we have the measuring pavement quality and performance. The design procedure for pavements originally focused on the pavement serviceability index, or PSI. So, PSI as a measure of pavement quality. However, the pavement serviceability index, or PSI, is based on the opinions of a panel of experts which can introduce some variability into their determination. As a result, efforts have been undertaken to develop quantitative measures of pavement condition that provide additional insights into pavement quality and performance, and that correlate with the traditional pavement serviceability index. Some factors that are regularly measured by highway pavement agencies now include the IRI, or the International Roughness Index, the friction measurements, and the rut depth. So, isa-isahin natin yan sa mga dito sa baba. Okay? So, unahin natin si International Roughness Index, or IRR. So, IRI, or International Roughness Index, has become the most popular measure for evaluating the condition of the pavement. So, ano to? The IRI is determined by measuring vertical movements in a standardized vehicle suspension per unit length of roadway. So, papatakbo sila, and then, using the vehicle suspension, titignan nila yung vertical movement nito. Units of IRI are reported in inches per mile, and take note, the higher the value of the IRI, the rougher the road. Of course, tataas baba yung ating suspension, yung vehicle suspension natin because of the vertical movement. That means, mayroong nadidetect na roughness dun sa road natin. Kaibahan niya dun sa may smooth. Kung smooth yan, papatakbo, of course, hindi naman uuga-uga yung ating sasakyan. So, minimal lang mami-measure natin na vertical movements. Okay, next is the friction measurements. Another important measurement of pavement performance is the surface friction. This is critical because low friction values can increase stopping distances and the probability of accidents. So take note, low friction values can increase stopping distances and the probability of accidents. So imagine this, kung madulas yung kalsada natin, so always remember, low friction means madulas yung kalsada natin. Kung madulas yung kalsada natin, so for example, this is the profile of our road, and then we have an object here. So object. So the more na mas madulas yung kalsada, the more na mangangailangan tayo ng stopping sight distances. Kung madulas tong kalsada natin ito, mangangailangan tayo maglagay ng signages dito na mayroong danger doon sa ating specified distance. For example, at a distance of 80 meters, may ganitong object or obstruction doon sa ating pavement na yon, sa daanan na yon. So that depends on gaano kababa yung ating friction values. Mas madulas ang kalsada, mas malayo yung ating stopping sight distances. So stopping sight distance natin mas mataas kung mas mababa yung ating friction value. Okay? So that's how it is. Okay, so that is how the friction is. Given the variability of pavement surfaces, weather conditions, and tire characteristics, determining pavement friction over the range of possible values is not an easy task. To estimate friction, a standardized test is conducted under wet conditions using either a threaded or a smooth tire. So, magkakandak sila ng tests using, ang condition is dapat basa yung ating kalsada, and they can use either threaded or smooth na tire. Although other speeds are sometimes used, the standard test is generally conducted at 40 miles per hour using a friction testing trailer in which the wheel is locked on the wet road surface, and the torque developed from this wheel locking is used to measure a friction number. So, titingnan kung mapapaikot niya yung wheel na yon. The more rough yung ating pavement, the more na mapapaikot niya yung wheel. Of course, the more smooth yon or the more na madulas yon kalsada, the lesser na mapapaikot yung wheel na nakalock. Okay? A number of factors influence the friction number. So, one of them is changes in traffic volumes or traffic composition. We also have the surface age, because it's found out that friction has been found to increase quickly after construction. So, what do you mean by increased friction? Yung mas mataas na friction means mas rough yung road. So friction has been found to increase quickly after construction. Then as time passes by, to level off and eventually decline. So, the more na na-use yung road na yon, there's a possibility na magiging lower yung kanyang friction value. Seasonal changes. Well, seasonal changes, pagdating ng pag-ulan, of course, mas madulas yung kalsada natin. And speed, or the measured value, tends to decrease as the test speed increases. So, yung test speed natin kanina, that is 40 miles per hour, well, if you increase that test speed, yung measured value or yung ating friction is bumababa. Meaning, the more na mas binibilisan yung ating speed, the more na parang mas lesser yung friction niya or mas madulas yung kalsada natin. Kasi nga, nadadala na yung nakalak na wheel. Napapaikot na. Okay? So, next is the rut depth. Rut depth, okay, is a measure of pavement surface deformation in the wheel paths. So, nakafocus siya dun sa daanan ng gulong. Can affect roadway safety because the ruts accumulate water and increase the possibility of vehicle hydroplaning, which results in the tire skimming over a film of water, greatly reducing braking and steering effectiveness. So, ano nga ba yung ano ba yung danger niya na sinasabi dito? Well, vehicle control, yun yung nagiging problema. Because of its potential impact on vehicle control, rut depths are regularly measured on many highways to determine if pavement rutting has reached critical values that would require resurfacing or other pavement treatments. Virtually, rut depth is measured by determining the difference in surface elevation of the pavement in the wheel path relative to the pavement that is not in the wheel path. Ikukumpara lang naman yung nadadaanan ng gulong dun sa hindi nadadaanan ng gulong. Obviously, yung hindi dinadaanan ng gulong, yun yung initial talaga na height ng o thickness ng ating pavement. Now, of course, yung wheel path, yan na yung nakukompress na parte ng pavement natin. The critical values of rut depth can vary from one highway agency to the next. Usually, rut depths are considered unacceptably high when their values reach between 0.5 to 1 inches, indicating that correction action is warranted. See? So, usually, nandito daw sa limit na to yung mga kailangan na ng action or may gagawin ng rehabilitation dun sa rutting na naganap. So, ganito yung itsura ng rutting. So, kung titignan, may cellphone dun sa yung lumang cellphone dito. So, ito yung wheel path natin. This is our wheel path. Then, mapapansin, kung nasan yung hindi wheel path, itong part na to, tsaka ito, doon i-compare yung portion na to. So, it's found out that the difference, okay, so it's been found out that the difference here is, kung familiar kayo sa size ng ating itong cellphone na to, so most probably this is more than 1 inch. So kailangan ng gawan ng corrective measures ito. Kasi ang delikado dito is pag tag-ulan, makakargahan na to ng tubig, itong portion na to. So may tubig diyan, hindi magiging lesser yung friction diyan, and then magkakaroon na ng lesser vehicle control ang driver. So, lesser vehicle control, more probability for accidents. So, that's how dangerous kapag hindi na correct yung rutting na naganap sa kalsada. Now, let's go to something that is more familiar, madalas na natin nakikita sa mga pavements, especially dito sa Pilipinas. We have the cracking. So, dalawa, we are considering cracking for flexible pavements and cracking for rigid pavements. For flexible pavements, 4 types of cracking are usually monitored. Una, longitudinal fatigue cracking. Pangalawa, transverse cracking. Pangatlo, the alligator cracking. And pang-apat, yung reflection cracking. Yung una, yung longitudinal fatigue cracking, this portion here, is a surface down cracking that results due to material fatigue in the wheel path. Such cracking can accelerate over time and require significant repairs to protect against what? Against water penetration into the flexible pavement structure. So, ang itsura ng longitudinal cracking natin is here. So, nasa wheel path pa rin yan. Malapit na nga lang sa middle ng ating lane. So, here is the longitudinal cracking, okay, for the flexible pavement. Now, nagkakaroon tayo ng material fatigue. So, as time goes by, there's a possibility na hindi stable yung ating foundation, yung pagkakalagay ng material natin sa ilalim. O di kaya hindi maganda yung pagkakakompact. There's a possibility for that. So, habang dinadaanan ng mga sasakyan dito sa side na to, okay, so imagine nyo na lang, para kang bumibiyak ng skyflakes. So, nagkakaroon ng cracking dito sa portion na to. And kailangan ng corrective measure yan kasi habang tumutuloy yan na nagka-crack, nagwa-widen din yung crack natin dito. So, kapag nagwa-widen na yan, may daanan ng tubig papunta dun sa ilalim. So, dangerous yun para dun sa ating pavement structure. The next crack natin dito is the transverse cracking. So, transverse cracking, from the word transverse, is generally the result of low temperatures that causes fractures across the traffic lanes, resulting in an increase in pavement roughness. So, ito yung itsura ng ating transverse cracking. Okay, so across the lane. So, kanina longitudinal, yan yung longitudinal. Ito naman yung ating transverse cracking. So, dumaan na siya doon sa lane natin. Again, kailangan ito ng corrective measures kasi habang tumatagal yan, nagwa-widen na rin yung crack niya. Pwede na rin daanan ng tubig papasok doon sa sa ilalim ng ating pavement. Okay, next is the alligator fatigue cracking. It is a consequence of material fatigue in the wheel path, generally starting from the bottom of the asphalt layer. Such material fatigue creates a patch of connected cracks that resembles the skin of an alligator. Kaya siya tinawag na alligator fatigue cracking. As with other types of cracks, this can accelerate quickly over time and generate the need for maintenance to protect the integrity of the pavement structure. So, anong itsura ng alligator crack? So, ito siya. So, parang nga siyang scales ng alligator. So, this is interconnected cracks. So, magkakaroon siya ng maliliit na crack sa other areas ng ating pavement. Tapos, as time passes by, nagkakaroon na siya, nagkukonekta na siya sa other cracks, thus forming this scale-like alligator scale na nakikita natin sa picture. So you may have observed this also on our roads dito sa Pilipinas. And lastly, we have the fourth type of crack. We have the reflection cracking, which occurs when hot mix asphalt or HMA overlays are placed over existing pavement structures that had alligator fatigue cracking or other indications of pavement distresses. And these old distresses manifest themselves in new distresses in the overlay. Meaning, so, meron tayong former na structure sa ilalim na meron ng surface distresses, yung na nabanggit, alligator fatigue cracking, or pwede rin may transverse cracking. Kaya nga tinawag na reflection cracking kasi kung ano yung naging distress niya sa ilalim, yun na din ang naging stress niya dun sa ibabaw or yung overlay. So, existing structure ito, for example, is existing concrete pavement, tapos may overlay ka dito. Ang overlay mo dito is the asphalt cement. So, asphalt dyan. Nag-overlay ka ng asphalt. Kung ano yung crack niya dito, nag-reflect na rin siya sa taas. So, yun na din yung naging surface distress niya sa taas. So, ito siya. Reflection cracking. So, tayo natin hulaan. If this is a reflection cracking, what would have been the surface distress dun sa ilalim? So, what we can see here is longitudinal crack. Then, we have also the transverse crack. Nag-reflect na. Nakita na sa ibabaw. So, hindi kasi naayos yung surface distress dun sa ilalim niya. Kaya, ayan, kahit na na-overlay na siya ng asphalt, well, still, nakikita pa rin or nagkaroon pa rin siya ng similar na distress dun sa ilalim. Kaya mas mabuti sana, before mag-overlay, inaayos muna yung mga surface distresses na meron sa ilalim niya bago patungan ng any other material. Okay, so those are the 4 types of cracking. So let's go to the next na failure dito. We have the faulting. For traditional JPCP or the jointed plain concrete pavements, rigid pavements. Oh, hindi natin nabanggit yung isa. Okay, so yun lang pala is for the rigid pavement pa pala. So, flexible pavement, yung 4 kanina. So, we still have the rigid pavement. So, for rigid pavements, transverse cracking ang pinaka-common. Such cracking can be the result of slab fatigue and can be initiated either at the surface or base of the slab. The spacing and width of transverse cracks and the potential impact of severe cracking on the structural integrity of the pavement are critical measures of rigid pavement distress. So this time, for rigid pavements naman tayo, ang common crack niya is transverse cracking kasi because of usage of slabs. Slab kasi, kung mapapansin nyo sa mga konkretong kalsada, ba meron tayong joints dito. Yung ito yung sa kunwari left lane, we divide each slab with joints. Then ito naman, meron tayo dito dividing the opposite lanes. Kung itong left lane, ito naman ang right lane natin. So meron din tayong joint dito. Transverse cracking, makikita natin sa isa sa mga slabs. So, here in the picture, you can see here a transverse cracking and nagtapos siya dun sa joint dun sa pagitan ng mga lanes. Then, now, this also is kailangan niya ng remedy agad kasi pagbukas mo to, so, imagine niyo pag nagbukas yan, nalalagyan niya ng tubig. Okay? Then, habang nalalagyan ng tubig yan, as pagdaan ng panahon, bubukas palalo yan. Di ba lumalaki yan? And the presence of potholes can be observed as time passes kapag hindi yan na-rectify. Kaya first pa lang na makakita ng transverse crack dito, dapat inaayos na agad. So that's for the rigid pavements. Again, let's go to the faulting. For traditional JPCP or jointed plain concrete pavements or rigid pavements, joint faulting characterized by different slab elevations is a critical measure of pavement distress. Faulting is an indicator of erosion or fatigue of the layers beneath the slab and reflects a failure of the load transferability of the pavement between adjacent slabs. Faulting is associated with increased roughness and will be reflected in International Roughness Index measures. So, faulting is, matatandaan nyo dito is the different slab elevations. So, nagkakaroon ng pagkaiba ng taas ng mga slabs dun sa ating rigid pavement. So, konkreto. Okay, so we have here, halimbawa, ito yung ating two separate slabs separated by a joint. Ito yung joint natin. So, because of poor construction of the bases, most probably, hindi nakumpak masyado. So, imagine this. This is your approach slab, meaning, dito manggagaling yung sasakyan mo, leave slab. Okay. So, nagkaroon ng difference dito ng elevation ng ating slabs. So, ito siya. Kung mapapansin nyo. So, makikita na yung difference ng ating slab elevation. So, yan na siya. Faulting ang tawag dyan. If you have observed that in the road na nadadaanan nyo na. Punch outs. For continuously reinforced concrete pavements, CRCP, rigid pavements, those built without expansion or contraction joints, fatigue damage at the top of the slab is often measured by punch outs, which occur when the close spacing of transverse cracks cause in high tensile stresses that result in portions of the slab being broken into pieces. Punch-outs are associated with increased roughness and are reflected in International Roughness Index measures. So, ito yung tsura ng punch-out. Yan, parang sinuntok lang. So, that's punch-out. And then, ang sabi dito, mapapansin yung punch-out natin is nasa may transverse cracks. Okay, which occur when the close spacing of transverse cracks. Yan, sabi. Yung magkalapit yung mga transverse cracks. Limbawa ito. So, transverse crack to. Transverse crack yan. So, nagkaroon ng punch out sa area na ito. Then, this one, it's obvious na mayroong transverse crack dyan. And most probably, ito is starting out as a transverse crack. And then, nag-punch out na siya agad. Hindi na nahintay na makapunta dun sa may joint dun sa in-between ng lane. So, nag-punch out na agad dito. Okay? So, those are the measuring pavement quality and performance. So, that's all for this continuation video.